Welcome to Fight Court, ladies and gentlemen. We're back another week, another edition, another time to discuss some important matters in the MMA world. Today, we are talking a very important subject about, in my opinion, this comes down to villains and heroes. Because every hero needs a villain to succeed. And what makes a hero-villain story is really trilogies, the rivalry, the beef between the two. And when you think about the modern day trilogies and heroes and villain stories, one that comes to mind is Israel Adesanya and Alex Pereira. I mean, when you talk about combat sports, that might be the biggest one in all of combat sports in terms of kickboxing and MMA. But for today, we'll just discuss it in terms of MMA. All right. So when you go back to the history of these two, Alex Pereira lost the second time, but he won the first time. And should they do a third one to find out who is the best? And what do you guys think? So I'm going to come to you first, Ryan. Is a trilogy warranted? And do you want to see it?
Filmo mami. Okay, all right. Trilogy. We don't need it yet. And this is interesting in the point where this trilogy specifically can always be talked about, and it is always going to sell. They're both right now. Israel's running back up for the middleweight title. Great. I know that there's some dispute if you let him fight for the belt. Alex is at light heavyweight. He's got some names in front of him. They're talking about him going up to heavyweight. Let's say that happens and he loses to John Jones and Israel wins the belt or loses the belt, whatever. That trilogy is always going to sell. I don't think that they need to do it right now. I think that they're on two different paths for the time being. And similar to what Israel said prior, where Alex is like Bane, where Batman comes back and it's always going to be there. That friction is always going to be there. That rivalry is always going to be there. We just don't need it right now. But that will happen now soon, and I can't wait for it.
Nat, do you think that they should do it and there's no expiration date on this trilogy?
So I think they are going to make it. I guess in middle, right? It would be in the middle weight. So that would make me feel like I don't know if I want to see Pereira back in middle because he's doing so good in lightweight. The cuts for him were super hard. Like he have really struggled to get it to the weight. So I see him just, having more time in the lightweight division. I would definitely, I'm sure that Jones Pereira would be a bigger fight. That would be the biggest fight, I think, in my opinion, especially because Izzy comes from 2 losses out of three fights. He didn't look good when he went up to the lightweight division. So I think it's really important, this fight with Dricus. I think my opinion would be I'm not sure until I see Izzy in this performance because he didn't look good before in the last fight with Strickland, but before he has been having great highlights in the middleweight division, and he has been a dominant champion. But where is he mentally? I don't know if you guys know something about that.
Well, no one knows where he's at mentally. I mean, when you think about those guys from New Zealand, they kind of stay off on their own. They don't really cross-train or cross-breed and cross-pollinate with a lot of us in the States. They kind of stay off and do their own thing. And I think that's by design. I think Eugene Behrman doesn't want those guys to really do a lot of work over here. Now, obviously, Alexander Volkanovski's a little different because he trains with Craig Jones, so he might have a little bit of, but he has a different style than those guys anyway. But so no one really knows what's going on in the head of Izzy. But I can deduce based on his behavior and based on the landscape of MMA right now and what has happened, what has transpired in his career and Alex's career, this trilogy, for as much as I would like to see it, because I think it adds to the rivalry, I don't think it happens ever.
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 Wow.
I don't think it
Wow.
happens ever. And
That's bold.
I think that will be because Izzy don't want it. I don't think Izzy wants it. I think he's like,
That says a lot about where he is mentally if he doesn't
I
want
know
it.
that says a lot about where he is mentally. Like, you know what? I got the last win. That's it. I'm okay with that. It's not over until I win. And he got the win, and he's like, all right, boom. I think when he got that win, did you see how elated he was? We was down there in Miami. I remember it. And I remember that night. And I remember him. They came up to the desk. I was working the post show. They came up to the desk afterwards, him and his crew, and they was dancing and partying and drinking. And he probably didn't stop for 4 days. Like since the knockout, he did the machine guns, and he probably partied for 4 days because it finally exercised those demons to finally get one back. And I can't imagine him wanting to go through that again and taking a chance of losing again to this man. There's no way he wants that.
Maybe he don't want it at middleweight, but what if Alex still has the light heavyweight title, International Fight Week 2026? And then Izzy's like, you know what? Let me try to get this champ. Let me try to be a dual weight class champion. And I don't got to cut that weight. This is fun. I get that money. Like I think that this fight would happen at light heavyweight.
The only way I think it happens, I mean, a lot has to happen for it to happen. In my opinion, I think that Alex is going to have to start showing some signs of being human. I mean, he hasn't, ever since he moved up to light heavyweight, he hasn't shown signs of being human whatsoever. I mean, he showed some signs at obviously middleweight when he got knocked out, and he got clipped a few times where he looked like he couldn't take the punches as well. But at light heavyweight, he's been able to take punches. He's been very difficult to take down. He seems superhuman at light heavyweight. He's going to have to show signs of being human. He's going to have to be riding like another 5-fight win streak of beating Dricus and Robert Whittaker again and Sean Strickland.
What do you think?
Convincingly.
Sorry to interrupt, but talking about what you were just saying, what do you think about Pereira and Kalaev? That could be the one that, goes for the wrestling and have that side in his edge.
Ankalaev can't fuck this up. And fighters have a tendency to really mess things up when they have a good opportunity to not mess them up. In terms of him saying, yeah, I'm going to strike with him, but he's really going to try to take him down. We know this. If he's not extremely calculated about the way he approaches this fight and gets knocked out, it's a wrap. He has to be extremely smart because he's saying he's going to stand with him. I get it. You say that and then you come out and wrestle. But if he doesn't sell whatever it is, the opposite of what he's really trying to do, he doesn't sell it strong enough, he's getting knocked out. And
I don't think he's fast enough.
You don't think he's fast enough?
No.
He might not even be fast enough. He's going to have to be. And here's what makes Alex so good. And I talked to Glover about this. I thought about you as I was talking to him too, Ryan.
I'm going to see them this week.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, I'm going up there. I'm going to train with them on Thursday.
Yeah, tell him I said what's up, man.
No.
Glover's my guy, but Alex, he's a little standoffish. But anyway, so when he's talking about Alex,
we talk all the time.
I'm sure. But he's talking about the focus of Alex. He said, if you ask him to stare at your finger, he will completely stare at your finger and won't take his eyes off until you tell him it's okay. And I was like, that seems about right. And you know that about him is his focus. And his focus allows him to deal with feints probably better than anybody in the UFC. Like it's so hard to feint this man because he seems so intent on like knowing when you're feinting or when you're actually doing a move. He doesn't bite on feints, which makes it so difficult for guys to shoot on him. And if Ankalaev is not fast enough and strong enough with his feint game, he's getting knocked out.
Yeah, I don't see him creating angles. I don't see him being able to pull it off. And and to your point about the focus, it's like goes back to when he knocked out Jamal Hill. It's like he took the groin shot, was like, no, I saw something. Let me cook.
Yeah. That's what it was. Like that's focus, man. Like even though he waved off Herb Dean, he never took his eyes off Jamal Hill's chin. He never took his eyes off. And you saw Jamal kind of like, huh? What's up? What we gonna do? Oh, all right. And then like he completely was out of it then had to try to get himself back into it. And by the time he tried to get himself back into it, it was too late. And he knows that. He knows that now. He knows it. Like Alex took advantage of the moment.
But there's a lot of people, like a lot of guys, even Joe Rogan, that said that he was kind of tricked in that moment. You know, that it wasn't like that fair. I don't agree at all. I think like it was a legit, super legit win. But the narrative lead us to a rematch, definitely.
I would if it just grazed me. Like we've seen some bad nut shots. That one didn't seem like it was overly terrible. If it just grazed me and I saw my opponent get like that chink in the armor, I would let's do it. But I already laid out Alex Pereira's next like 2 years of fights.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
And are you going to go up there next Thursday to talk to him about this?
I am.
Yeah, I wanna send a voice message, please.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear that. I can't wait to hear what that conversation is like. So what are his next 2 years?
I want to know.
Come December, he's giving Jamal Hill his rematch,
All
and
right.
he's gonna win. Then he is gonna.
Oh, you have also like the Nostradamus thing, like you predict.
Yeah, Quinn Stradamus.
Oh, okay.
They've been calling me this forever.
All right,
So
I like that.
then he is gonna go up to heavyweight, and he's gonna fight Cyril Gane because it's a heavyweight, but it's a favorable matchup. He's gonna win. Then he's gonna fight John Jones. I can't see that far into the future yet as to what happens. But then after the fight, he's coming back to light heavyweight, and he's going to fight Izzy.
Let me stop for a second, man, because I can't help but to chuckle when we talk about Cyril Gane. Cyril Gane is so good, right? But whenever fighters go to heavyweight, they always go, "Yeah, give me Cyril Gane." There's something about there's something about Cyril Gane that just makes people think they could beat him, right?
You know what it is? Because his wrestling's so bad. He's like the bodybuilder that skips leg day. You know, he's just got this freaking fantastic striking, but he can't defend grappling worth of shit. So it's like he just can't skip leg day.
It's funny too, and I was talking to Mo about him. When we did our little foo and fights. And I just said it's because Cyril Gane is light skinned, and Mo just said,
"Well, in the last performance, he definitely looked like. I mean, it was everything that he goes. It's weird, right? Because when you do a lot of great things, people are not cheering you constantly. But when you do one bad thing, for some reason we just remember it, we chip it in our brain, and that's kind of it, or 80% of the thing.
But you know what?
That's what happened with Cyril with his last performance. I think that is what happened with a lot of fans right now, and a lot of people.
What was his last performance?
Oh, it wasn't with the John ones? No, he had another one, right?
In France, right?
I think he had another one after that.
In France, right? Did he fight
Tuivasa? Yeah, he finished him. Yeah. Well, but still, he's the odds for that fight. I'm 100% sure it changed it completely because of how he performed.
Yeah, but you know what the thing is, man? Here's how you beat that. You're right about that. So, like, you can do a bunch of good stuff, and then you do something bad. Everybody talks about that one bad thing that you did. That is true. But here's how you beat that. You beat that with volume. You beat that with the Nate Diaz style. Like, if you do something bad and everybody's talking about that, you bounce right back and start doing a bunch of good stuff. And then eventually people forget about the bad and then start to pay it. Now they're paying attention to you because of the one bad thing you did. They're paying attention to you. So doing something bad, if you just let it settle, then yeah, it's going to have a negative effect. But you can use it to your advantage because everybody's going to go, "Oh man, he sucks." Because the egg he laid against John Jones, that was about as bad as it can get, in my opinion, in terms of like really missing an opportunity, like flushing an opportunity down a toilet. That was about as bad as you can get. But he could use that as an opportunity to be like, "All right, I got that out the way. Let me get the next dude, and then the next dude, and then I would have went on a run of like 4 fights the very next year if I was him, because then people would have forgot about the John Jones thing, and he would have been able to talk himself back into another title shot. But what did he do? He got all light skin on us, went out there, was like, wee.
With a croissant.
With a croissant, yeah, pinky
One,
sticking out. You know what I'm saying?
one time when Greg Hardy was at the gym, like Mo was messing with him about being light skinned, and then you see this guy. I don't know why it came. I go, yeah, they're like the black gingers, right? And then Mo goes, yeah, they got no soul.
I wanna know. I wanna meet Mo.
Yeah, nothing's funnier than talking about light skinned people.
Oh man! But you know what though? If he did go on that run, I would totally pop for him versus Tom Aspinall. I would
No doubt, for
I would
sure.
get behind that fight.
Oh, it has to happen. That has to happen. I'm gonna be so mad if they don't give Thomas Pinal the shot. Like he absolutely deserves it. He's a machine. Like I feel like the heavyweight division right now, it's weird. It's like the top guys are good, but not complete or not enough cardio or lacking some area or something. And then there's a breach and there's the really good guys. And it's just like 3 or 4.
Top heavy.
So you don't have a lot of great competition. So it's weird, you know? It's weird in that division right now.
Well, it's hard to be good as a heavyweight. Well, not hard to be good as a heavyweight, but when you are good as a heavyweight, it's a rare thing because that means you found your ingredients, as I like to call it, to be good. And most heavyweights can't find it because in order to be a good heavyweight, you have to be fast, you have to be powerful, you have to have like decent training partners, you have to have a good coach, and you have to have all these things that kind of are rare. For a really heavy guy, you know, and again having training partners. But like if you're a smaller guy, you got training partners out the ass, and you know you have the resources out the ass. But as a heavyweight, it's hard to have all that stuff and be like, all right, I'm a good grappler, and I'm a heavyweight, and I'm a good grappler, and I'm limber, and I'm athletic, and I'm fat, and it's just very rare to find that. Like they have some of them, and that's why they get to a certain level, and then boop, it's about as far as they can go. Parker Porter like a motherfucker.
Parker Porter.
That's my guy too, boy.
I remember I've known Parker a very long time. He's from Connecticut, so
yeah,
you know, we trained a lot. When I remember in high school we had one heavyweight, and he was good, but he was only really good at one move. And I remember our coach was saying like why don't you show him other stuff? He's like, this is what he's got. Like this is, and so his whole training was how to get to his headlock. Like whether like was the headlock and then how to set it up. So like when you're a heavyweight, you can kind of get by if you know what your identity is and you know how to get to your identity. I mean, that's really every fighter, but
just with a heavyweight, it's just easier to really categorize that identity and say,
yes,
this is exactly, we know what you're good at. This is what it is. Don't deviate from the plan. Like his lighter weights are good at like 4 or 5 different things, and they can deviate from that one plan and go to different other things. But back to the topic at hand, Izzy. So you think Izzy will fight? So we laid the plan out for Alex.
Yeah.
All right. So what do you think Izzy's next 2 years look like?
With prediction.
With prediction?
Yeah.
He's set to fight Dricus, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In August.
All right.
Get it August 17th, something like that.
I think it's August 3rd.
I think that he beats Dricus. They don't do that rematch. They give Dricus versus Strickland, and then Strickland beats Dricus, and then comes up and fights Izzy for that rematch. Woo! And then yeah, papi, mami.
You're really a telenovela guy for real, like.
and then Izzy beats him, and then Izzy does one of his really weird post-fight press conferences where it sounds better up here, and then it comes out, and it's really not that good. and he talks himself into the rematch with Alex.
I love the visual of that. The visual.
But I didn't understand at the end. Like it was like Izzy, Duplessis, and then.
Yeah, Izzy, Duplessis, and then so there's baggage here. So then Duplessis, and then the Strickland rematch, and then Strickland wins the rematch and fights for the belt, and then Izzy beats Strickland in that rematch and then goes up.
Okay, he beats Strickland. Okay.
I'm not going to let this go because I love the visual of of Izzy's head, like inside his head, he's thinking of something, and he's thinking, and like you could tell in his head, it's like it's marinating his head, and he's thinking to himself, "Oh man, this is so good. This is so good. I can't wait to spit this." And then he says it, and everybody's kind of like, "What?"
Yeah, like when he made the
crickets.
Frozen, the Frozen, whatever he said about Frozen, like he said about Elsa. I was like, who the fuck is Elsa? And I had to look, and I'm watching something with my son. I'm like, he talked about Frozen, the kids movie.
Yeah, man, it's hilarious. But just the visual in my head of like the chain of events of how it happens inside his head, I can kind of see it. It's really funny in my own head.
Yeah, you gotta. One of my best conferences, like my favorite conferences, was the one where Sean Strickland fought Pereira, and Izzy was also fighting. I think Cannoneer, if I don't misremember. But it wasn't. No, who was he fighting that card?
Cannoneer was like, but that was December, like 2 years ago, right?
Yeah. When Pereira fought Strickland, when he knocked him out with a kick.
Yes.
But it was crazy how Strickland just used his words to got all the fanatics on his side. Like he destroyed Israel. I don't remember. I don't know if you remember that one, but he absolutely destroyed Izzy with the hentai, with the porn, with the anime porn, with the dog. Like he used all the arsenal, and that was like 10-8, for Strickland.
Well, Strickland has always been good at that, like using all the little catchphrases and trigger words to get people on his side. He's always been kind of crafty at that.
He's got a knack for that, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. I mean, he's really good about going, all right. But you know what his real talent is not crossing it too much. Right? Like he's really good about, and that takes ability, man. That takes intelligence.
Go ahead. I noticed something similar to what you're saying.
To really touch on these touchy subjects like racism and sexism and and all these little touchy subjects, but not cross it to the point where he just totally pisses off an entire group of people to where the UFC is like, all right, you know what? You got to chill. But he does such a good job of just like getting there and then backing off a little bit.
You know what he does? He's like, he'll make fun of you really hard for like 3 or 4 shots, and then he'll make fun of himself really bad once and then go back to it. It almost like makes him relatable. And I think that kind of what keeps him from teetering to their, like he'll be like, oh, you suck, well, fuck this, fuck that, I got a little dick, blah 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 blah, and then he'll go like,
yeah. Oh yeah, I'm not that great either. Yeah. You're right about that. That's exactly what he does.
Yeah, he always plays like that, like he's the underdog, and he's like that, like what you just said, to being relatable. But also people just, we think that, well, I'm included, we think that he's just a madman, so you just let him be, It's like he's definitely like having a couple of things in his mind that are not normal. So it's like, oh, okay.
Well, part of that, Ryan, of why he does that, the psychology behind that is you're not allowed to punch down.
Mm-hmm.
You can always punch up, but you can't punch down. Which is why a guy like Dricus, who comes from like money and a good stock, he can't go that route. Like he's not allowed to say those things about people because that's totally punching down. So that's why that's why I'm surprised that like Dricus hasn't really backtracked on what he said about him being the African guy.
Is that true? Because I saw a couple of interviews and they were like literally asking that. No, they were saying that he was rich. He's rich, and he's like, even DC asked him like, "Are you the prince of Cape Town, like South Africa?" And he said like, "It's not like that. Like my family doesn't come from, like, it's not rich or anything. Apparently, it's a working class.
Listen, if you white in South Africa,
nah, come on.
You're not. I mean, there's a very strong caste system, and if you white in South Africa, I'm sure you not chilling with the brothers. You know what I'm saying? You living a little different. He may not be the prince. He may not have everything he wants, but trust me, he not poor.
He's got his share.
He did. Yeah, he didn't have to escape like Francis. You know what I'm saying? Escape poverty. I mean, he's good, and that's why what he said was a little disheartening because those guys had to leave to better their lives, and he's already. And we know. And I mean, I'm just speaking based off of intuition here, but we know that his life is probably pretty good in South Africa. So
Yeah, and to say that, and I remember what he said now, and like to say that, it's kind of like privilege got in the way of what you really should have been saying, man. Like like you don't get it. Like that's kind
yeah,
of what it seems like, and
yeah. But here's and I said this or some I can't remember where, but I do believe that after the fight, if it's a good fight and they gain each other's respect, I do believe we're going to see some words of Dricus mentioning that and being like, you know what, I was wrong. I shouldn't have said that. I fully believe that. I believe that he's
Who's
so
wrong?
PR. He was what?
Who's the one that is wrong?
Dricus.
Why?
Well, because he had said some stuff about he's the only African champion and those other guys.
Yeah, that's bad. That's bad. But what Izzy did in the octagon, calling him like those words, that's pretty wrong too.
he wasn't really calling him that. Like he was just talking.
He didn't.
No, but he said that like everybody was like to shut this man up, like stop him. That was really bad.
No, that to me that was awesome to me.
Dude, I saw
Again.
I feel like both wrong in that case. They're both wrong. You can't say like one is and the other one is not.
I saw some of the funniest memes after that, like people like in Izzy's ear, like call him it, he can't say it back. Crazy.
Yeah. That was good.
Well, that was the reason why he did it. He was saying, okay, if you the African champ, then you my bleep. I would say it, but I'm not trying to cancel either. But that's basically what he was doing. He was antagonizing the.
But he's an African champ.
Colonizer.
He's an African champ.
Colin.
Right?
I mean, I don't know.
So here's the thing, though. Dricus he's not wrong in his fact. It was just in poor judgment of what he did, which was wrong. Of saying what he said. He's not speaking out of he didn't make something up. He's not lying and made something up. His facts are correct, but it was in poor judgment to say what he said about those other guys. He should have been like, yeah, they African. We all the same. He could have said that. You know what I mean? But
yeah, he could be way more polite than that.
Yeah, he dismissed those guys. And who was really upset by the whole thing was Temba Garambo. That dude was like, dude, I'm African too, and we train together in Africa. He was like, I trained with Dricus in Africa. He's very aware of me being. We lived down the, like they lived in close towns. He's like, he's very aware. And for him to say that he's the only African fighter, like Temba Garambo was pissed off about that. Like, yo, and he was so pissed that like I went on a show with him and RJ Clifford, and RJ kept asking about it, and he got mad. He was like, yo, I told y'all I don't want to talk about that no more.
Wow.
And I was like, woo.
No.
Yeah.
He was the heat.
Yeah, that really pissed him off, like talking about.
But you know what? It's weird. That of course it's a hot topic. It's something hard because we all talk about our experiences. Like for example, here in Peru, there's the people that come from European blood look a little bit different, don't look like the mountain people, but that doesn't like. There's a lot of racism going around. It's like if someone doesn't look like this, then that is not Peruvian, and it's actually Peruvian. It's a person that have been born here, lived all the life here, study here. It's the same, It's not because my family is Spanish and Italian or whatever, and I look in a particular way. I'm not. So it is a hard topic. I think it's like you said, like they both have facts, and I feel like they both have. At the end of the day, they want to fight. They're going to bring the heat, to the spice to the place, but it have gone out of control a little bit. And I think that if they do have a rematch, I hope that they both, talk a little bit. Yeah.
You said look like the mountain people. What do the mountain people look like?
I mean, you can absolutely enter Google right now. You put Cusco, Peru, and you'll see what I'm talking about. It's a really typical. It's like the Andinian people.
They're
You know,
they're all
if you see an Inca, you will see a really particular type of person, and those were the native here
how tall
in
are they?
South America. Oh, they're short.
Yeah, I was about to say, they're like little too, right?
They were short. Yeah, they were short. But they have, for example, a lot of cardio because they were running all of. Why are you laughing, man? They do have cardio. They have cardio.
They got a lot of cardio.
We
They
have
short, but they got a lot of
a lot of
they
flight
they got
here.
a
How
lot of
short are we
cardio.
talking? How short are we
Well,
talking?
according history, Incas were the tallest one. They were told like 180 more, but the majority of people. That's what history
Wait,
says.
180.
But
Like you mean 1.8 meters?
80
No, that's
meters. Yeah, it's different.
yeah.
It's different from yours.
That's
It
like
would be like
5'8". That's not that short.
no, that's like six. But that's the Incas, which were the ones that ruled the whole thing. You
All
know.
right, as
But the
long as we're
majority
clear
of
that
people,
5'8" is not short. It's okay.
it was like 5'5", 5'8", so really short. But they were running a lot all the time. Well, I don't know how much is in meters, but 167,
A meter is
170.
3 feet 3 inches.
Hold on,
Okay, well,
me and Ryan tripping. She's like 5'8". I'm like,
Yeah.
five eight. I guess 5'8", whatever.
like,
I don't know.
hold on,
I don't
man.
know.
5'8"
Don't
is
get me
not short.
confused. Don't get me
I'm
I'm
confused.
down with all that short 5'8". You know what I'm saying? I'm 5'9". Don't be hitting me up.
Are you?
Ryan,
No
yeah.
way. Are you really? I thought you were taller than that.
Nah, man. I'm like 5'9" and 3/4.
Oh, okay. 3/4 are important.
Yeah. And when I wear my lifts.
Well, but that's the thing, you know. The topic is a little bit complicated, but it's good that we can talk about it, you know, with respect. And I hope that they talk about it with respect.
Yes.
Well, all I know is I'm sending this little clip to the people at Fox Sports. I'm getting you fired,
Yeah.
HR department, for talking about the little
Look,
Incas.
I'm the Peruvian here. I have all the, the moral authority to talk about everything about
I
that.
can't wait to go on your Instagram and just see all the short people that you interview and be like, stay away from her, man.
Yeah, she's
She got
trouble.
something to say about you.
All right, so we don't have a felon of the week this week, which is quite all right. We can do without it every once in a while. Ain't nobody out there doing shit. So let that be a lesson to y'all. If you're an up and coming fighter, get your ass out there and do something so we can
Give
talk
us something
about
to talk about.
it. Yeah, give
Thank
us something to talk about. But I will say this though. Fatima Klein, we highlighted her a few shows ago.
Mhm.
She's actually making her debut against Jasmine Jasdavicius this weekend in Denver. So I'm actually rooting for her because she's one of our very own.
And she's entering
Right on.
in short notice. Also, she's replacing Vivian Araujo in a upper division in a class. Yeah.
So we'll see how she does. So best of luck to her. But guys, it's been real. Always fun with you guys. Always good chopping it up. We'll do it again next week. If you like the show, make sure you hit like, share, and subscribe. And on that note, this court is adjourned.